I'm a retired school teacher of 32 years, and for 31 of those years, I drove a daily bus route. And I learned some things on that bus route that made me think, and I made these lessons that perhaps we can learn together. So join me as you can learn a lot when you ride on a school bus. For example, you know, you have to be really careful when you drive a bus. You have to be slow. Kind of like turtle slow. Well, that's kind of what the school bus is like. I gave myself the name Father Featherfoot Jr. in honor of Brother Wendell Gann, who was given the name Father Featherfoot for his slow driving ways on the highway. So since my kids were little, they kidded me about kind of driving like an old grandma, because I had really learned that on the bus. So I proudly took the name Father Featherfoot Jr. Bus drivers have to use caution. They're adjectives to describe people, so I proudly take the adjective cautious, careful about avoiding risk or danger. Why should I be so cautious? Here's why. I had precious cargo on board. Somebody asked me one time about what's the most important trip that I take on the bus. Every trip is the most important trip because of that precious cargo that I carried every day. We were driving through a subdivision one day. It was curvy and wiggly, kind of like this one. I was going slow. I was using caution. So around the corner I met this little guy. This little guy had apparently got him a little scooter, and he was driving through the neighborhood on his scooter. However, he had a shiny candy apple red helmet. And on that little scooter, to me, he looked a lot like a little Tootsie Pop with that candy apple red. And so that little Tootsie Roll Pop was on the little scooter. And he was coming straight for us. So I went even slower, and he was still coming straight for us. So I stopped the bus, and he was still coming straight for us. I really didn't quite know what to do. This is not in the driver's manual. A giant red Tootsie Pop is about to hit my bus head on. Just like that. And he's getting closer and closer. The little Tootsie Pop. I'm getting nervous. I admitted it. I'm not even moving. The little Tootsie Pop is coming. Hey, somebody asked, why not honk the horn? Bad idea. I was afraid that if I honked my horn at the little Tootsie Pop, that the horn would scare him, and that he would pretty much face plant just like this young lady did in this picture. I rejected that as a bad idea. However, when the Tootsie Pop got about 10 feet away, apparently he noticed this big giant yellow bus. And I noticed that his eyes got really, really big. And when he saw that big yellow bus, he decided that he needed to do something. So he swerved just in time and went completely around the bus and missed us. Whew. I was relieved. And then we went on to school. There is an application to my story. Why didn't he notice that school bus? He was oblivious. Oblivious is a word that means to be totally unaware of what's staring you right in the face. It was a big, giant yellow thing with flashy lights and headlights, and he was completely unaware that we were there. This happens all the time. It says to take caution, and well, you see what's about to happen. There's a car coming, but the person seems to have no awareness that there's a car coming because of the phone. They're totally oblivious. She seems to not be aware there's a cliff there, even though the sign says caution. Danger, deep hole, and totally oblivious. You know, when we go out here and our jobs, our things, we kind of get our head in the clouds, and we sometimes don't take caution when we really need to, and we can be oblivious to dangers, and being oblivious can hurt you. Watch this lady right here who's talking on her phone, and she falls right in. Check this lady out, who is oblivious too, and she falls right in. Take this lady who falls into the fountain at the mall. This gentleman seems not to see the post that's right there in front of him. Oblivious. Not being aware of what's happening around you. Like a school bus in front of you. This is oblivious. It's 40 feet long. It's big and yellow. And the little guy totally didn't notice it. Or oblivious can mean not noticing people right in front of you either. It could be people talking to you, or oblivious can be not being concerned about what is happening to the people around you. Like the young lady there in front. And we're just using this young man, I don't know who he is, but as an example of what we all do sometimes. Totally oblivious to her problems. Totally oblivious to his problems. Totally oblivious to this young boy being bullied. Totally oblivious to this old man in the wheelchair, totally oblivious to others, to the little kid. 2 Kings chapter 6 talks about an incident, and Elisha prayed, "Open his eyes, Lord, so that he may see." And then the Lord opened the servant's eyes, and he looked and he saw that the hills were full of horses and chariots of fire all around Elisha, who were there to protect them. Maybe we can borrow this verse to help us to not be oblivious. Open our eyes, Lord, so that we may see. Then the Lord opened our eyes, and we looked and we saw that the world was full of people who need us. That too often we are oblivious to, like an elderly lady died in a nursing home in Scotland. They found a poem she had written to the people who took physical care of her, but they seemed oblivious to her as a person. Part of the letter involves that she was a daughter, and she was a bride, and she was a mother, and she was a grandmother, and she was a widow, and now she was an elderly woman who needed lots of care. She ended her poem by telling them to do something. Open your eyes, people. Open and see. Look closer. See me. So open our eyes, people. Open and see. Look closer and see a world full of people who need us. See me. Make a difference, though. You could be someone to talk to them, to see that somebody can talk to them that can, that you can make a difference in a life. Look closer and see me. Then make a difference. This young man is 14, and he began a food store for the homeless, and in a matter of a couple of 3 years had gathered hundreds of thousands of cans of food and fed hundreds of people. He made a difference. See me. When the young boy is being bullied, see me. Make a difference. Stand up for the people who are being bullied. Don't just look the other way, because it can be so easy to look the other way. See me. This could be the disabled, the elderly, even the lonely. Make a difference. You see, we can make a difference, whatever age, in the lives of people who need help. See me. See me, says the young boy. Make a difference. Time. It could be with family, it could be with friends, it could be with big brothers, it could be being a mentor at school, being a friend to young people at church, in the community, part of a reading program at the library. see me, said the young boy and girl. Make the extra effort to pay attention to the people around you, your friends, your family, even total strangers. John 13:34, a new command I give you, love one another. We can't love others if we're not aware of them or don't notice them, if we're oblivious. Have you noticed the bus in front of you? Thank you for listening. I hope that our lessons from a school bus have caused you to think, and I hope you've enjoyed them, and I look forward to another lesson with you. Thank you for listening.